Wanted to make a quick video here to show you how to make drop-in crowns with your CEREC. This will save you a lot of time and frustration. There's a lot of tools in the CEREC software, and sometimes it's easy to get lost designing. And so this is an easy way to do posterior crowns quickly and predictably so that they look good and fit good, and you're not spending a lot of extra time adjusting or wondering why it's not fitting like it should. This is a demo that was done using PrimeScan 2, but it's really similar for PrimeScan 1 or for the OmniCam. The big difference being that you'll see the acquisition tab is already completed or was done in DS Core, but it's very user-friendly or very similar with what I'm showing. So on the left side, you'll have your selections for your case. Remember that the left side is what's used for picking or selecting what you're going to do, and then on the right side is actually what you'll have for the case and what you're doing. So you want to go ahead and pick what type of restoration you're doing, pick the material, and then when you select the tooth number on the right side here, it's going to be actually what the case is being built off of. We do a lot of zirconia, but if you're doing the Emax, you can select that too. Make sure you make the changes on the right side and not on the left side, because that won't change what you're actually making. Before you click next here, make sure you go down here to articulation, and you're going to want to click the little box right there, and we'll show you later how this helps you. And you'll see that it's under the case here now. You want articulation for tooth number 30. So click next. It takes you to the draw margin page, but we're not going to draw the margin right away, and just kind of make it a habit to take a look back at these other steps that already have a green check. So we're going to go to edit model, and under here, this is the right place to be trimming up a model, and you don't want to be doing that under trim area or during your acquisition. This is just showing you if you ever cut something and it inverts it, you can always switch between them, but you don't need to spend a lot of time here. But if there is a lot of excess tissue, it might affect what your proposal is going to be. So we just make it a habit to go in and trim that up. Okay, then going to set model axis, you'll see oftentimes here that it's not quite right. This one's pretty far off, mostly just because it was done on a model, so the computer's probably pretty confused about where it should be. You don't need to spend a ton of time here either, but you do want the tooth that you're working on to be in the general area, looking at those blue circles that are there. You can play with that just a little bit. It should take about 5 seconds. You don't need to spend a lot of time working on the front teeth or the midline. Now you're going to go ahead and go to draw margin and draw that in. After drawing your margin, don't go straight to design either. We also want to make sure now we're going to set insertion axis. Oftentimes this is off, and this will greatly affect how your crown seats. So you want to go in and make sure it's right. You don't want the margin to be covered up anywhere. You kind of want it right in the middle. And then when you're happy with that, move forward. Moving on to the design part of what's here. Sometimes the design part is the area where there's lots of different tools, and so it's easy to really get lost in, moving a cusp here or moving your contact here and then going back, and now your occlusion's off, and you can spend a lot of time going back and forth, and every tool is affecting the last step that you just did. So instead of doing that, we try and follow 4 steps, and we just, especially for posterior crowns, just always do these steps and do them in order, and it will save you a lot of time. The steps are FCCO, which stands for fissure, contours, contacts, and then occlusion last. For the fissure step, right at the beginning, you can take a look at your fissure height, and if you're not happy with it, you're just going to go to shape, anatomical, and you're going to grab the whole tooth and lift it up. Almost always you're adding more material here. It seems like that's always the first move that we do, looking at our fissure height, getting a little more out of that, and then ignore any red spots. So I'm going to lift this one up just a little bit more, just so we have something to show how we'll deal with that later. Then you're moving on to the next step, which is going to be dealing with our contours, and you're just going to go to the circular tool. Here's where you're going to make any adjustments for minimal thickness issues. Often they show up on the lingual or maybe on the buckle, and so you can use the circular tool to grab and fix those. You're also adjusting anywhere on the marginal ridges so that they're even with the adjacent teeth. And then looking at the teeth in between, going to the smooth tool, and you're going to smooth this down to color green. On the previous step, if you didn't have green to start with, you can bulk it up with that anatomical circular shape. And now we're smoothing it through the model. We smooth it through the model because it won't get rid of any of the blue that's around there, so it leaves you with a very nice contact. Good. Once we're happy with that, then we're going to go down here. You'll see this articulation set of tools, and you can turn on the upper virtual articulator. And now this shows you any of the excursive movements that are too high. And you'll notice that even some of the blue areas are too high. And so this is where, even if you got rid of the high spots and you go to deliver it, you might notice you're spending a lot of time still grinding down afterwards. So you can use the remove tool, do it right through the purple that's there. It won't remove anything else, just the high spots. I'm using this tool to kind of show you what the software does with articulation, but there's actually an easier way to do it. And so to show you that, I'm just going to add back a couple contacts here. And so instead of doing all of that, all you have to do is go to adjust your contacts and hit that FGP, and it'll automatically get you to a spot where you have good contacts and none of them will be high when you go to try it in. Good. And then as we move next here, once you're happy with everything, to manufacturing, for this case, or a lot of our cases for posterior crowns, we end up doing zirconia, and our go-to block is kind of the Katana 1 speed. On here you have some options to move the sprue, but within the blocks they have different layers, and so you also have the option to move it up and down if you want to play with the color just a little bit. Sometimes that fine tuning is a little bit helpful, so you can do that. Katana 1, you've got 5 minutes for it to mill and then 9 minutes for it to sinter, so it makes for a fast appointment. And then these ones generally fit very well and you're not spending a lot of time after that.